everyone, welcome back. This is the second part of section 9.5, so we're going to be on page 94, and this is going to be the big conversion factor section. So I just want to remind you that I have office hours where you can video conference with me. If you are at all confused about any of this, I am totally able and willing to help you out with it one-on-one. So please let me know if you need that. For those of you who really like conversion factors and are good at them, this should just seem pretty straightforward, just like one more step in conversion factors. But if you are, if you've forgotten a lot about conversion factors or if you need more help, totally please ask me for help and I'm happy to help you. So we're going to start by writing out an equation just to talk about a few things with it. So this is going to be a combustion reaction. So we've got C2H4 reacting with oxygen to produce 2 molecules of CO2 and 2 molecules of H2O. So if you remember last time, I was giving you moles of one part of the reaction, and we were going to moles of another part of the reaction. And that was pretty easy, and we just used the coefficients. But today, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to give you grams of one of these, and then I'm going to ask you for grams of something else in the reaction. And there's a few more steps that you need to do to go from grams of one part of the reaction to grams of another part. These coefficients, they don't tell us grams. These only work for a number of molecules, a number of moles. So this tells us in this reaction, if I have 1 mole of C2H4, I need 3 moles of O2. It also tells us if I have 1 molecule of C2H4, I need 3 molecules of O2, but it doesn't tell us grams. This is all about number of molecules, not about mass. So we're going to draw a chart in your notes that's really going to help you with this gram to gram conversion that we're going to do in a second here. So I want you all to draw this with me. It's going to look similar to one that we drew in section 5.5. So we're going to start out with grams of A. So the letter A here is going to stand for whatever part of the reaction I am starting with. So A could be C2H4, it could be CO2, it's whatever they're giving me to start with. From A, I can go, from grams of A, I can go to moles of A. And between these circles, I'm going to write down what conversion factor I would use to go between them. So to go between grams of A and moles of A, I would use the molar mass, which is the number of grams of A, over 1 mole. It's always going to be over 1 mole of A. And just to explain that, we're going to write molar mass from periodic table. I'm going to abbreviate that as PT. Hopefully you know that stands for periodic table. All right, once I am at moles of A, I can then go to moles of some other part of the reaction by using the coefficients. So this is what we learned to do last time. So we use the coefficients from the chemical equation. And it has to be balanced, of course, before you can do this. And then lastly, I can go from moles of B to grams of B. And that would be using the molar mass of B. So again, B is going to be whatever other part of the reaction I'm trying to get to. So we're going to have number of grams of B over 1 mole of B. And that's the molar mass, again, from the periodic table. Okay, so this is just a little chart to help us with these problems. Now, I'm going to do just 2 examples with you And hopefully that will kind of help clarify what we're actually using this chart for. So our first example is going to be, and write this down with me, if I have 4 grams of C2H4, how many grams of H2O will I produce? Okay, and we're going to be using this same reaction that I already wrote up here. I'll rewrite it again just so that it's clear that this is the reaction I'm using to solve this problem. Okay, so what this problem is telling us is that I have 4 grams of C2H4. So I have 4 grams of this. So in this problem, C2H4 is A. So I'm starting at grams of A, and it's asking me for grams of H2O. So H2O is going to be B. Okay, so I'm going to label that as A, H2O is B. So I'm trying to get from grams of A to grams of B. To do that, I have to do these 3 conversions. There's no way I can go straight from grams of A to grams of B. There's no conversion factor that will do that for me, unfortunately. It would be nice if there was. So what I need to do is just follow this map and just think of each of these circles as a destination and each of these conversion factors as the road that I use to get to the destination. So this is going to take quite a few conversion factors. So I'm going to make a nice long chart, and I'll just fill this up with conversion factors as I need them. So with conversion factors, we always start with the given up here. I'm not looking for a ratio or anything, so there's not going to be anything on the bottom. We're just going to have 4 grams of C2H4 on the top. Okay, now this map will tell us what I need to do next. So what I need to do next is find the molar mass of C2H4 from the periodic table, and that will help me get to moles of C2H4 from grams of C2H4. So I'm going to pull out my periodic table here, and here's carbon, it's 12.01, and hydrogen is 1.008. So down here, C2H4, we've got 2 carbons plus 4 hydrogens, which is 1.008. Or on your periodic table, it might say 1.01, and that's okay. On my calculator, I'm going to add those together. So 2 times 12.01, that's 24.02. And then I'm just going to make 4 times 1.01, that's going to be 4.04. So plus 4.04. 28.06. Just going to round that. Grams of C2H4. And the molar mass, remember, is always over 1 mole of that compound. And that's what it tells us up here in the chart. So here's my molar mass. Now I need to cross out grams of C2H4. So I'm going to put this grams on the bottom. And the 1 mole on the top. Okay, so now my grams of C2H4 cross out, and I am now here. I am at moles of A, and A is C2H4, so I'm at moles of C2H4. Now I want to get to moles of B, and B is H2O. So this is where I need to use this balanced equation right here. So I need to look for the coefficients of C2H4 and H2O. So there's no coefficient in front of C2H4, which means it's really a 1. And then the coefficient of H2O is a 2. So what you need to do is use the coefficients to make a ratio, a mole ratio. So we want moles of C2H4 on the bottom, so that will cross out. That coefficient is 1, so we're going to have 1 mole of C2H4 down here. And then we want moles of H2O on the top, because that's what we're trying to get to. So we'll have 2 moles of H2O on the top. Again, I just got these numbers from the balanced equation. That's where you have to get this conversion factor right here. So now I'm in moles of B, or moles of H2O. Now I want to just get to grams of H2O. So I need to find the molar mass of H2O. And there's 2 H's. It's 1.008. I'm kind of just going to round that to 1.01 in my head. So that makes this problem easier. Oxygen is 16. So that's going to give us about 18.02 grams of H2O over 1 mole of H2O. And we want to cross out moles of H2O, so I'm going to put this conversion factor in here just the way it is. And I have now arrived at grams of B, or grams of H2O. So hopefully you can see how this chart helps you set up the problem and solve it. Now the last thing I have to do is just multiply everything on the top, divide it by everything on the bottom. So I'm going to do 4 times 2 times 18.02. So that's going to be 144.16 grams of H2O. And then on the bottom, I just have the 28.06. So I'll divide those. And you will get 5.14. I'm just going to round that to 5.14. Okay, so that's how you do these problems. I don't want to do too much more on this video because it's going to get kind of long, so I think I'm going to leave it at that. I do just want to point out a couple of things to you though. Some problems won't ask you to go as far in this conversion factor chain as this one did. For example, if this had said I have 4 grams of C2H4 and then had asked how many moles of H2O I would produce, I would just leave off this last step because that would leave me with moles of H2O. So on your assignment, you're going to have a couple of problems that won't ask you to go all the way to grams. They might ask you just to go from grams to moles. Sometimes you can start out with moles of A also instead of grams of A. So then you would be starting out with moles right here, going from moles of A to moles of B maybe, or moles of A to moles of B to grams of B. So you can start either at grams of A or at moles of B, and you can go either to moles of B or to grams of B. So those are all options. Again, I know for some of you this is going to be pretty easy. For a lot of you, you might need a little bit of extra help. So please let me know if you'd like to talk to me about this. I have lots of time on my hands, so I am happy to talk to you guys. I hope you're having a good day, and we'll talk to you later.